Today we've got major new confirmations on the upcoming iPhone 18 Pro Max. We've got the specs, design changes, color options and features no one expected this early, so let's jump straight in. We're going to start with a leak that's already causing a lot of debate here. Apple may finally be preparing to ditch the dynamic island. So a new report from Smart Pikachu on Weibo claims that Apple is testing under-display Face ID hardware, and this would allow them to remove the dynamic island entirely. However, the selfie camera would still remain as a punch hole. Now personally, we've heard under-display Face ID every single year, and after digging into the details here, it still feels very unlikely for the iPhone 18. A much more realistic upgrade is going to be the one we heard about previously, that Apple is shrinking the current layout into a smaller punch hole, pushing the display closer to a full edge-to-edge look, but not being full screen just yet. Now, there have been prototypes with full under-display Face ID sensors, but reports agree that the tech just isn't ready yet, so expect this to arrive in a future iPhone model, but not the iPhone 18. An upgrade you can get now though is today's video sponsor, the Lark Max 2 wireless mic system. The Lark Max 2 offers pro-grade simplicity and transmits all of the audio wirelessly to your receiver and camera, and you've got up to 340 meters line of sight, offering you total freedom as well as 48 kHz 32-bit float recording with a signal-to-noise ratio of 72 decibels. The transmitter even has a microphone built in with 8GB of storage, and again it records 32-bit float uncompressed audio if you ever need a backup. Now we get AI noise cancellation, and the microphones can either be comfortably clipped on or attached with the included magnets. We've got the ability to run 4 microphones off a single receiver. When you're using 2 TXs and 2 OWS earphones, you can wirelessly monitor the audio up to 100 meters. So if you want to take the hassle out of recording and get good audio without all the difficulties that can come with that, then check out the Lark Max 2 now by clicking the link down in the description below. Next up, we've got news that the iPhone 18 Pro Max is getting bigger on the inside, and it's also getting slightly heavier. Leaks are saying the iPhone 18 Pro Max is going to weigh in at 243 grams, only a 3-gram increase, but it's for a good reason. Apple is increasing the battery capacity again, and after the disappointing sales of the ultra-thin iPhone Air, it's clear that the market wants better battery life, not thinner phones. Now, the thicker body also gives Apple more room for upgraded internals, especially the new camera hardware. So now let's talk performance, because this is one of the biggest upgrades this time around. The entire lineup is going to run on the A20 and the A20 Pro, and the A20 Pro is built on TSMC's new 2nm process, and it should deliver major gains in efficiency, lower temperatures, and significant improved on-device AI performance over the previous A19. Now Apple is reportedly unifying memory across the whole series as well, so every iPhone 18 model is expected to ship with 12GB of RAM, so this finally eliminates the gap between the base model and the Pro models. Now connectivity is also getting a refresh with the new C2 modem, Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth 6.1 is currently in testing, promising lower latency, better reliability and improved power efficiency if it does make the final design. So now onto the part that everyone's waiting for, and that's the cameras. The iPhone 18 Pro is rumored to feature a variable aperture 48-megapixel primary camera, a 48-megapixel ultra-wide, and a 64-megapixel periscope lens with up to 10 times optical zoom, but the Pro Max might be taking things even further. Insiders are saying that Apple is testing a stacked 200-megapixel sensor, which would be the biggest resolution leap in iPhone history. Now it's still in testing, so it's not guaranteed just yet, but even the possibility is pretty huge. Alongside the new hardware, Apple is reportedly working on smarter AI-powered video tools, so things like improved HDR in low light and faster image processing thanks to the A20's upgraded neural engine. So the Pro Max might become a step above the smaller Pro when it comes to the camera performance. Now let's talk design, because this takes an interesting turn. Early leaks claimed that Apple was switching to a frosted, translucent panel showing hints of the internals, and you've probably seen my renders here for a few weeks now, but new information suggests that that idea is being scrapped. Now instead, Apple is going to be trying to drop the two-tone look completely, moving to a cleaner, unified design with the frame and the back glass perfectly matching color. Now that's not easy to pull off when one part is aluminium and the other is glass, so it's going to be interesting to see just how Apple does it. Now we've also got 3 new color options in testing. We've got a deep burgundy, a brown and this bold purple, but only one of them is going to make it to the final lineup. Now the bold purple could replace this year's bold orange color, but we're going to have to wait for confirmation. Let me know in the comments which one that you'd pick. Personally, I'm hoping for the burgundy. Now for those excited, we're now going to run through the full specs, design and the expected pricing of each model, so hit subscribe now and we'll get right into it. So first up, we've got the standard iPhone 18, which is expected to come with a 6.3-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display running at 120Hz. Of course, it's going to be protected by Ceramic Shield 3, Apple's next-gen strengthened glass. Now the resolution is going to be 2622 by 1206 pixels, giving you roughly 460 pixels per inch, but we of course get a higher peak brightness and better HDR performance than we did this year. Now the bezels are rumored to shrink slightly, making the phone feel a touch more compact than before. Then up top, we're going to see a smaller True Depth Face ID system paired with an 18-megapixel selfie camera. On the back, it's expected to keep the same dual camera setup with a 48-megapixel main camera and then a 48-megapixel ultra-wide. Both of them are going to use larger stack designs for better low-light performance though, and of course, there's no dedicated telephoto on the base model. Under the hood, it's going to be powered by the new A20 chip. It's built on a 2nm process for major efficiency gains, and you can expect 8GB of RAM and storage options from 128 up to 512GB. Now battery capacity is around 3,800 mAh with 30W wired fast charging and faster MagSafe wireless charging. Connectivity is going to include 5G, Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 6, and of course Apple's own C2 modem. It's going to ship with iOS 27 and pricing is expected to stay close to the current levels, so that's around £799 or $799. Now next up, we've got the iPhone 18 Air, and this is the lightweight middle sibling. It's reportedly coming with a 6.5-inch Super Retina OLED at 120Hz, protected by Ceramic Shield 3. The resolution is going to be 2736 by 1260, giving us 460 pixels per inch, and we get a slightly thinner design than its predecessor. On the front, you can expect the same smaller Face ID setup and an 18-megapixel selfie camera. Then over on the rear, we get another single camera setup with a 48-megapixel primary camera. And of course, we're also going to get the better chipset, which is the A20 Pro, and that's going to be paired with 12GB of RAM and up to 1TB storage. We get small improvements to the battery capacity with a 3,200 mAh battery, and of course, we also get some improvements to fast charging as well. We get 5G, Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 6, and Apple's new C2 modem. It will of course ship with iOS 27, and it's going to be launching from $999 or £999. Now next up, we've got the iPhone 18 Pro, and this raises the bar with a 6.3-inch LTPO Super Retina XDR OLED display running at 1 to 120Hz. It's going to remain at 2622 by 1206 resolution, but of course we get higher peak brightness, thinner bezels, and a smaller dynamic island. We get a new 42-megapixel selfie camera on the front, and then over on the back, the Pro steps up to a triple camera system with a variable aperture, and that's a 48-megapixel main sensor, a 48-megapixel ultra-wide, and then a new 64-megapixel periscope offering 5 to 10 times optical zoom, and all three are rumored to use stacked sensors for faster readout and better color depth. It's powered by the A20 Pro chip, which is manufactured on a 2nm node, and it's coming with 12GB of RAM and up to 1TB of storage. In battery size, it's going to land around 4,300 mAh for the eSIM only model, with some big improvements to fast charging. Connectivity brings 5G, Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 6, ultra-wideband, and the new C2 modem. And it's of course going to ship with iOS 27, and pricing is expected to start from £1,099 or $1,099. Now finally, we've got the iPhone 18 Pro Max, Apple's largest flagship model, and we get a 6.9-inch LTPO Super Retina XDR OLED display with a resolution of 2868 by 1320. It's still a 120Hz display with a record-breaking peak brightness and a smaller dynamic island. For the front camera, we get the same 42-megapixel camera we have on the Pro. And then over on the rear, it's also going to mirror the Pros, so that's a 48-megapixel main, a 48-megapixel ultra-wide, and a 64-megapixel telephoto, of course with larger apertures and improved sensor readouts for even better zoom and night shots. Now it's running the same A20 Pro chip with 12GB of RAM, but this time we get up to 2TB of storage, and it also packs a much larger battery of 5,200 mAh for the eSIM only model, with improvements to wired and wireless charging. We get 5G, Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 6, ultra-wideband, and Apple's C2 modem. And of course, it's running iOS 27, and it's expected to launch around £1,199 Well, that's going to be $1,199 in USA, and of course it's launching in September 2026. But overall, the iPhone 18 series is shaping up to be a refined and meaningful upgrade. Apple isn't redesigning the phone from scratch, and instead they're doubling down on performance, battery life, and camera improvements, making the iPhone 18 a stronger, more consistent device all round. If you already own the iPhone 17, this may not be a must upgrade, but for anyone on an older model or someone looking to try out their first iPhone, then this could be a great choice. Now, of course, we're still quite a way away from launch at the moment, but loads of leaks are going to come in and I'm going to be sharing them as soon as they do, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a thing in the future.